tourism industry. We can create spaces where visitors can unwind, connect with nature, and embrace tranquility of our beautiful surroundings.
We need everyone on board to help us create an exceptional experience for our guests.
Join us at our National Tourism Community Consultations as we shape the future of tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It's everyone's business, yeah. Love it, embrace it.
WEFM is SPG.
Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
Yes.
You like this rhythm? I like this. It's a nice rhythm, you know. It's called the Red Rum Rhythm.
Red Rum, okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's got some lovely songs on the track as well. So you could go check that out and vibe in that. You know, if they play it at Cannabis, you know what? Let me just leave you alone right there. Doc, it is your segment. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Now, I am coming back with a familiar theme that I've spoken about several times. I mean, this morning I could talk about cannabis and so forth, but last week we witnessed the new arrival at the port of a large number of new high-tech equipment that was going to be used to run and operate the port, costing millions of dollars. This was separate and distinct to the $460 million contract that the contractor had to build the port. The port management or the project management also spent these millions on getting this equipment. What was this equipment? These equipment was going to allow for 2 cranes to be at the port. It's going to like what somebody call Hoyer lifts to pick up the containers, multiple of them, not one, not 2, several of them, forklifts, and also a scanner to be able to scan a container to see if it has guns in it and other illicit things and so forth that you don't want imported into St. Vincent, that we don't have. We may have something out at the airport, but we don't have here in Kingstown. This excited me for several reasons. When I was a minister responsible for business, small business and industry, I found out that the World Bank had instituted a new system of analyzing and assessing countries called doing business. It was introduced in 2004, and it used 10 criteria to assess how well a country was at doing business. And Dianna, in 2007, St. Vincent was on this list for the first time. In other words, 2004, 2005, we weren't on the list. But 2007, we were on the list. And one of the categories, getting a license, guess what? St. Vincent was considered number 1 in the world. And they asked me to fly up to a meeting up in the United States to discuss where small St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right, was able to be number 1 in the world in this category, doing business, but that category was licensed. There were other categories, you know, in doing business, such as starting the business, dealing with licenses. That's where we're number 1. But there was hiring and firing, and there was, you know, registering property, and there was getting credit, and a host of other things, including international trade. And unfortunately, in the area of international trade, we were not number 1. We were like 130th, 140 across there. But even so, being number 1, it sparked attention. But a lot of the other areas, you know, was so low. And that sparked my interest. And I looked into this thing of international trade. And what they said was that St. Vincent was low because when a boat comes in, the speed by which you are able to offload your goods, the time a boat has to wait, all these factors came into play with respect to international trade. And we were considered low on that scale. Now, a lot of studies, I don't have the time to get into it, but studies have shown that if you could improve your score on the international trade area, in other words, if you could reduce the time it takes for a boat to stay on your dock, you reduce the cost of the goods. And if you offload your goods faster, you reduce the cost of goods. You're considered to be an efficient port. And I realized that a lot of people do not understand the importance of the port. And I was speaking to somebody yesterday and they said, why are we building a port when nobody's asked for a port? No one has asked for a port. People ask for housing. Build houses instead. Well, they're building houses, but I realized people don't understand why there was a need for a port, why there was a need for an airport, why there was a need for a hospital. Because some people would say, let's forget about that. Well, I am saying this to say that the 2 cranes that are going to be there, instead of being able to offload 1 boat at a time, you can do 2 boats simultaneously. The length of the new port is twice as long as the old port. So therefore, you could accommodate 2 boats. People ask, well, why don't you go Camden Park? Well, Camden Park Bay is too narrow. For bigger boats to turn around, they just can't do it. But the important thing is that decreased delays, having more space to store up containers. And having more space to store up containers means you are open now to transshipment, so that other islands around that have small ports that can't be improved, or they don't have the money to improve it, or they haven't improved it yet, they could offload the stuff in St. Vincent and get it over there at a later date or in a short space of time. And bigger boats from the Panama Canal, instead of offloading in South Carolina and having to load back onto a boat, would come straight here and we can accommodate them. And with the use of a tug and all this kind of stuff, you could improve the efficiency. And this is the thing, the efficiency of offloading and the quickness of offloading can brand St. Vincent Kingston Port as being a port that is efficient. And I was so surprised with the amount of electronics, computerization that's gone into this port to know where things are. Now, I've brought this up because not only did we see St. Vincent as number 1 in the world for obtaining a license, we were in the bottom 1/3 when it came to international trade. I believe that this new developer port will probably, may not necessarily put us up in the top 10 and all that stuff, but it's going to raise our efficiency and our ranking significantly. And the new system they have in Be Ready, I think that it's been a very good score. I wanted to point it out this morning, Dianna, because I think there's a lack of understanding for the need for a port. And I'm sure somebody will call in and tell me that there was no need for a port.
Oh, we have somebody calling in us. So you want us to take this call?
All right.
Hello, Joshua. Good morning to you again.
Yes, good morning again. Good morning, Dr. T.
Good morning. How are
and
you?
I don't, the T does not stand for Tampi.
well, it doesn't stand for tampon either. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
I've always admired your family. Regrettably, your
brother,
dearly departed brother, who was a very, very good friend of mine.
I know.
I have no visual memory of him because my ex-wife destroyed everything that I had, my negatives and everything.
Oh gosh,
But he was
terrible.
he was an amazing guy, right?
Yeah.
This guy loved roast bread fruit.
Yes, like me.
And the only way he would, I'll get to my point, release. Yeah, before you cut me off. The only way this guy would eat breadfruit is that when it's roasted, he scrape all the black off the breadfruit, cut the guts out, and he used to call my mother, moms,
yes,
give me some salt butter, and he gonna plaster the salt butter on the hot roast breadfruit with the skin and everything.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I remembered about him. I remember the picnics we used to have under the bridge in Argyle.
Yeah.
Like I said, unfortunately, my negatives and everything were destroyed.
Yeah.
But Doc, I'd like to pull you up on one thing.
Sure.
This morning, as I said, I always admire you.
Mm-hmm.
I would like you to drop the word small from your vocabulary.
Small.
You made reference to St. Vincent, a tiny country. How much fire does it take to start an inferno?
Yes, you just need a small
spark, right?
You need a spark.
It only takes a spark.
A small spark.
So, yes, Doc. So please drop the word small because
a spark then.
I'm telling you from experience. Here in Bermuda, we are benefiting from the sparks coming out of St. Vincent.
Yes. Okay.
Your doctors, your lawyers,
yes.
teachers.
Wonderful.
Your hemorrhoids, like the one speaking here now.
Yes.
Right. And you're the somebody I've been waiting for. Roleza. What woman in the studio with your name?
Dianna. Yes.
Was telling me I must get somebody to answer my question.
Yes.
All of a sudden, Vincent, I go, Doc, I see marijuana plants growing. Seriously, I am serious, like in public.
Mm-hmm.
Could you help me out? Say, why is it then illegal for somebody to smoke something? I'd listen to you off air.
Yes. Well, listen, here in St. Vincent, our laws are designed to depenalize and decriminalize the use of cannabis. We found that doesn't work. Now, educating our youth not to start the use of cannabis has been important. However, we've legalized for medicinal uses. Now, a lot of the time, persons used to plant high up in the hills. There was a lot of deforestation. There was a lot of unlawful activities and so forth taking place. Tell you the truth, I gotta say, there was very little hygiene also associated with it. They didn't have a lot of the facilities they really needed. But we've told them, come down from the cold. And so I could tell you that the amount of cannabis that's being produced is far less than what was being produced before up in the hills, but we now have less deforestation. We now know the names and the addresses and the phone number of almost everybody doing cultivation. We're able to monitor it and assess it and so forth. And we're able to have a better regulated system too. But you should not smoke in public. The law allows you to smoke in your place of worship, your synagogue or your Hindu place of worship. It allows you to smoke in your residence, your home. And it asks you to basically try and make sure that your kids are good. I have no doubt that kids who see a parent cussing or parents drinking alcohol, that they may be induced to do the same thing. I think as a medical doctor, I know this is true. But we implore kids to do that. But our laws are also going with the process of what's happening in the rest of the world. Now, I've heard people say that they will legalize 2 ounces of cannabis. 2 ounces. Dianna, have you heard people say that? Mm-hmm. They're going to legalize 2 ounces? Mm-hmm. We have already done that. These persons who may say they're going to legalize 2 ounces don't realize that 2 ounces is the same as 56 grams. 2 ounces, everybody, is the same as 56 grams. And that we allow persons to have those things in their possession and so forth. But please don't go and smoke in public. Don't go near a playing field. Don't go near a church, a day nursery, or anything of that nature. You know, we smoke. And, you know, the police have also showing some measure of tolerance. But they do have the ability to, if they see kids and so forth, to tell them and warn them and so forth. But there's no arrest for small personal possession. Now, I say this all, I must say this. If you are caught with 100 pounds, 200 pounds, you're going to get the law coming down very hard on you, because then you are then engaged in trafficking. But once you have a license, once you have ID cards, and once you have these things, you're able to operate within that legal framework. But if you're going to continue doing what we consider as illegality of a particular level, then you would certainly attract the law enforcement.
All right. So I don't know if Nicole has anything to add. It's 9:04 and we have to head into our ECCB currency exchange rates now. So Nicole, it's over to you if you'd like to add. Okay, no. So
nothing to add.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
So
thanks for the information, Doc.
With that, we are going to head out of this talk segment and straight into the ECCB currency exchange rates.